Man, what is it about movies with computers from 20 years ago that make it look older than a Charlie Chaplin film? Also, America Online. The opening song of this movie, which we won't play, is about goddamn puppies. So, what is this? Marley and Me? Whose idea was it to go with a song about puppies instead of, oh, I don't know, a song related to two people meeting over a distance and falling in love? See, here's how I see it. We fly over New York with our cameras and we get a beautiful aerial shot. Here, let me show you an animatic. Wouldn't this be awesome? Hey, wait a minute. You're not just gonna use this, are you?
This is amazing. Listen to this. The entire workforce of the state of Virginia had to have solitaire removed from their computers because they hadn't done any work in 6 weeks.
That's so sad.
What's sad? The workers not having access to the greatest time-wasting game to ever be installed on a computer? Or are you sad for the state of Virginia? Make your side clear so we know how to judge you. Also, who barges into their significant other's bedroom and wakes them up with insignificant news stories?
Name me one thing, that we've gained from technology.
This character can't be serious, right? There's nothing worse in romantic comedies than the unsuitable boyfriend-girlfriend character. They always have that one trait that every time they enter the frame, they have to abide by it. This guy is Rage Against the Machine if Rage played Calypso. Signs that you might be in a terrible relationship. You check to see if your boyfriend is gone so you can get on the internet, and you're not even going to open up any porn. Oh, please don't make me listen to that awful noise. Damn it! Movie shows you a dial-up connection in real time, and it takes so long that I thought for a moment this movie was from 2019 and was making a comment on how bad we had it back then. You've got mail. Scroll credits.
He loves the streets of New York as much as I do.
Although he likes to eat bits of pizza and bagel off the sidewalk.
Yep, this movie is basically made up of 70% reading, narrating emails.
Random house fire, Dick Atkins, good riddance. Murray Chilton died, which makes one less person I'm not speaking to.
You know what's worse than an unsuitable significant other? Two unsuitable significant others.
Okay, I'll go.
I honestly don't even know what that was, but this works.
Welcome. You've got mail.
Both actors react to this like it's the second or third time they've ever opened the internet. It could be that they're just happy that they have mail and they conduct this emotional affair, but you know why I can't stand happiness. Joe's mailbox does not contain a Nigerian print scam. While Meg Ryan narrates her own email here, I'd like to point out that the Cranberries' Dreams is playing. It's almost like Nora Ephron was really trying to win that 90s as award they plan to hand out at Blockbuster Video 20 years later when 90s as ness could properly be judged. Thank the ad gods for the decline of neon signs. These twisty bulb fonts are ridiculous to read. I'm reading Whipple You Way, and is this store for like stapler repair? A beached whale lying on a pillow repair? Oh, it's a shoe. I'm sorry, does that say this store's nuts are roasted on penises? I'll put my glasses on, so no, it doesn't. But glasses off for the rest of the movie because it'll be funnier that way. Kathleen left the Starbucks as Joe entered the store. This side-by-side, almost meet in the street montage is visually interesting, but Kathleen would have gained quite a bit of ground on Joe at this point. Holy f***, that's Dave Chappelle, and You've Got Mail!
Hey, you know what? We should announce ourselves to the neighborhoods. Let them know. Here we come.
They're gonna hate us.
They won't.
As soon as they hear, they're gonna be lining up to pick
at the big bad chain store.
They won't.
They're gonna hate us at the beginning, but
They don't. Also, did you guys not do any market research when you decided to build this huge bookstore in the Upper West Side? And how did they not know what's being built? Can you really take on a construction job this huge and nobody knows what you're building?
Is it infidelity if you're involved with someone on email?
Sure, but even worse is saying involved with someone on email instead of online.
It's really nothing. On top of which, I am definitely thinking about stopping because it's getting confusing.
I missed all that because I keep waiting for Meg to open her eyes.
Cecilia Kelly. Lovely woman. I think we might have had a date once, so maybe we just exchanged letters.
Oh, come on. Joe's grandfather used to write letters to a woman who owns the store that her daughter Kathleen now owns. Does everything need a connection?
I get lost in the language. Words like thither, mischance, felicity.
Ah, none of those are real words.
the whole purpose of places like Starbucks is for people with no decision-making ability whatsoever to make 6 decisions just to buy 1 cup of coffee.
I can't tell. Is he upset or impressed? Considering he has a coffee shop at his own bookstore, I'm going with asshole. Also, now I see what this movie is. Joe and Kathleen trying out their stand-up material so that they can hone their best material when they get to their open mic nights. The bookstore drama is just a MacGuffin, and this is a sequel to Punchline.
Mocha Frappuccino Grande.
Is this how anyone has ever ordered coffee at a Starbucks or anywhere? Kathleen just stepped to the counter, called out her drink, and then this guy does the same. She stands there for like 15 seconds until...
All skim caramel macchiato.
And then walks away without pay?
The Olympia Report Deluxe Electric.
This guy has the character trait of mayonnaise. He makes everything he touches less desirable, and you definitely didn't request it. I'm eagerly anticipating the scene where Kathleen goes to the kitchen one night and catches Frank making out with a tub of sour cream. Why does he have this issue with technology?
You are a lone reed, standing tall, waving boldly in the corrupt sands of commerce.
carriage stopped as he was typing the word corrupt. Did he not notice? Does she not notice? Does anyone care?
I don't really want an answer. I just want to send this cosmic question out into the void.
Twitter.
You ready to say hello to New Jersey? Hello, New Jersey!
Acknowledging New Jersey. Even if she missed the bottle, this girl deserves a prize for turning a pink ring green. I feel like this montage is all about showing what a great guy Joe is, despite the fact that he's building a cold, cynical chain bookstore that's threatening all the independent booksellers. But look, even people who are can be good with kids for a few hours. Plus, it's Tom Hanks. Even when he's evil, he's charming. This good with kids thing is unnecessary because he's Tom Hanks. Is everyone gonna pretend like this is normal or allowed? These things have a weight limit. I know because I've asked.
That it was I, and I alone.
Reading.
Matt is my father's son. Annabelle is my grandfather's daughter. We are an American family.
No family is like that in France, I assure you.
Here you go, young lady.
What's that?
That's a handkerchief. A handkerchief is a Kleenex that you don't throw away.
And a disgusting person is someone who shares their eternal Kleenex with strange children.
My mother embroidered this for me. My initials and a daisy, because daisies are my favorite flower.
And if you look closely, you can see the glistening snot rocket from moments ago, just sort of hanging out in the fabric until it crusts over and adheres to one side of the hanky like mucus glue. And here I am just waving it around like it's so interesting.
And you are?
Joe. Just call me Joe.
This would be a way better movie if we found out that Joe and Kathleen have amnesia and forgot all about the time Joe found himself versus a volcano.
The world is not driven by discounts, believe me. I have been in business forever.
Two things. You are about to go out of business because you are an idiot, and everyone is absolutely driven by discounts. Just wanted to put that out there.
No protests, no demonstrations.
The neighborhood loves us.
Yeah, it's almost like that wasn't even a real conflict. I'm impressed by personal libraries and equally infuriated by library posers. But who guards their books with fish figurines?
The reason I came into your store is because I was spending the day with Annabelle and Matt, and I was buying them presents. There's only one place to find a children's book in the neighborhood.
Is this lie better than the truth, which is that the kids saw it was story time and you randomly went in?
Your last piece in The Observer about Anthony Paul was brilliant.
Is this some sort of signature Nora Ephron thing? This dynamic was in When Harry Met Sally as well. Two couples, the lead's girlfriend somehow knows the writings of the other lead's boyfriend. Parker Posey is Carrie Fisher and Greg Kinnear is Bruno Kirby, while Tom Hanks is playing Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan is whoever that chick was in When Harry Met Sally.
Joe, this man is the greatest living expert on Julius and Ethel Rosenberg.
Oh, how interesting and pointless to the momentum of this truly captivating drama.
Do you think we should meet?
Joe asks if they should meet. Kathleen closes her laptop, and I guess she never answers the question. But the next time we see them writing to each other, it's never addressed. How is that handled? Jesus, this movie is like the Prometheus of serendipity.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you glad the movie has time for this? Jesus, the intensity in her eyes as she awaits the first note. Also, nearly a full minute of this kid singing Tomorrow. Gene Stapleton is at a piano, but isn't singing Those Were the Days.
I need her to make me some cocoa and tell me that everything that's going badly in my life will sort itself out.
What kind of advice do you need?
She needs cocoa and someone to say it will be all right, not advice. Were you listening?
What's your business?
No specifics, remember?
Okay, fine. They have a rule about specifics. If she owned a restaurant, she'd almost certainly tell him about her business, but the movie depends on these two characters not knowing who they're talking to. At this point in their 2 months or so of emailing each other, it's hard to believe that a simple detail like running a bookstore is off limits.
Leave the gun, take the canoe. What day of the week is it?
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday.
I know he's just joking about how great The Godfather is and all the wisdom it contains, but if someone answers the question, what day is it, with Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, I'm probably putting that person in my will just to cut them out of it.
The answer to your question is go to the mattresses.
Go to the mattresses.
While Joe tells Kathleen what the term go to the mattresses means, she doesn't seem very curious as to how that term came to mean go to war. Sure, this is not that sinful, but this is a well-read woman who I think would be curious as to its origin.
Do you think it would be a gigantic conflict of interest if you wrote something about the store?
Is this even a real question? What the hell is this kid doing? He is over this movie too. This is the biggest news story, so much so that every single television is airing the rise and fall of a local New York City bookstore.
The shop around the corner has a kind of Jeffersonian purity to it.
You mean like Thomas Jefferson? Ew.
Of course, the whole idea behind leaving the house is so you can miss what's on television.
The notion that anyone in this film finds Frank intellectually sound is tragic.
Don't tell me. Not the slightest difference?
So the media blitz didn't work, but why was the store being shown super busy on the day the article was published? Is it possible they got lots of visitors but didn't get many sales? And sure, this group of people supporting the shop around the corner might agree that Fox Books is bad, and people should instead go to a bookstore that sells exclusively children's books, but they secretly go to Fox Books anyway because the books are cheaper. Either this movie is lying about the interest these interviews and articles generated, or people are dicks.
Do you still want to meet me?
You went from let's not share specifics over email to let's meet at an outrageous speed. Why not just say, okay, I'm ready to talk specifics now. I went to the mattresses and I got
If she turns out even to be as good looking as a mailbox, I'd be crazy not to turn my life upside down and marry her.
Yeah, but I'm wondering why your brain, in the attempt to look for something unattractive, went straight to mailbox.
You mind if I borrow this chair?
People who try to take the chair before getting permission. Also, as we saw earlier, there are several tables in this joint that have no people sitting at them, and this guy could easily steal one, and right after he gets rebuffed, he goes to another table and asks about a chair. This guy's a menace to society. She's a flower magician. Moments ago, that flower was inside the book.
Can I get you something?
No, he's not staying.
Mochaccino, decaf, non-fat.
No, you are not staying.
Instead of thinking that this is potentially a problem and that Joe might be an unwanted guest, the server at this cafe just hops off to dutifully fetch Joe's coffee. Ah, now I see why Chair Guy didn't take this one.
You are nothing but a suit.
That's my cue.
Look, this movie is nothing super special or anything, and it doesn't have to be. But this is a great moment between two actors with 3 movies between them. She finally gets her punches in, but doesn't feel great about it. And the pain that Joe barely masks as he tries to keep up this facade in the face of a woman he's been falling in love with is a wonderful clinic in acting. I will remove a sin.
What are you saying?
It could be.
Oh, for sake, George thinks it's plausible that Kathleen's pen pal is the rooftop killer because he was nabbed 2 blocks away. Also, Giuliani.
Is there a picture?
Even if there were a photograph of the murder, Kathleen doesn't know what her online letter buddy looks like. What would happen if they did see his face and he was handsome? Would they assume it was him in some sort of romantic fever and bail out the rooftop killer? I want to see that movie. Also, this article says the guy was arrested in the Bronx after his total narc neighbors turned him in, which is nowhere near the Cafe Lalo located on West 83rd Street in Manhattan. But those neighbors turned him in because a computer arrived at his tenement apartment, and the police were able to discover he was the rooftop killer and stole $6,000 because of that tip. This case has some holes. Also, this newspaper article repeats itself at least 3 times in the effort to look like a real article. Select all and backspace, bro.
He ran Spain.
She fell in love with Generalissimo Franco.
And now we watch the characters derail into yet another useless subplot for the next minute, and none of what they're saying helps this end.
You don't love me. Me either.
But we're so right for each other.
No, you're definitely not. I mean, in this time of honesty, at least admit that you two are about as compatible as mashed potatoes and cereal.
Why don't we bomb Fox Books?
Wait, what was that?
Why don't we bomb Fox Books?
Buried in this emotional scene of tissues, crushed dreams, and deep discounts is a subtle bomb threat?
I'd start with ballet shoes first. It's my favorite. Although skating shoes is completely wonderful.
Kathleen shows why an independent seller with a grasp of her product is way better than some huge, unfeeling corporation that hires kids just looking for jobs. And she certainly shows them. But is anyone going to ask if she's okay? A woman crying in the middle of the kids section of a bookstore might need some help.
And I was thinking that she'd make a great children's book editor. She knows everything. She has flawless taste. She's famous for it. You know, the salesmen swear by her. If she likes the book, it sells.
How exactly was that working in her favor for the business that she just shut down? This movie has never shown the building of this part of her character.
We are stuck in the elevator between the 6th and 7th floor.
And so is the movie. Jesus. Some people cry when animals die. Some people cry when shops are closed. I'm crying because there's another half hour of this movie and the main characters still don't know who they are to each other.
Jillian ran off with someone?
The nanny.
Okay, so she ran off with the nanny. But why did the movie go through the pains to show Jillian actively throwing herself at Joe this whole movie? Sure, that could be a red herring, but who was watching this movie thinking, I sure hope I know what happens to Jillian, Joe's father's wife, who's been in 2 scenes.
Who did you say you broke up with? Patricia. You met her.
Would I like her?
Can we please stop talking about all the other relationships happening in this movie and get to the part where the actual leads get together? For f***'s sake. You know what? Aw, look, the end.
I would really appreciate it if you would just go away.
Once again, Joe doesn't go away when Kathleen asks him to. And yeah, we're really hoping that they get together because of all the we know, but she doesn't know what we know and wants to be left alone, and that's all. This is an orgy of evidence that Kathleen's been dealing with a cold. Kleenex is everywhere. Medicine bottles in the kitchen, water bottles, more Kleenex. I mean, when I'm sick, I don't want to do either. Throwing away Kleenexes is a task that gets done. Also, wasn't she super pro handkerchief earlier in the movie?
What are you doing here?
And maybe, how did you know where I lived?
You've got mail.
At this point, it's kind of hard to believe Kathleen doesn't know that Joe's the guy she's been talking to. The fact that he showed up at Cafe Lalo and the other guy not showing up should have been a big piece of evidence. After that, the Godfather and the Pride and Prejudice references, the parallels between him and the man she's been speaking to online, him showing up today out of nowhere, and now an entirely too specific reference to the exact way they've been communicating. I mean, come on! You were ready to believe he was the rooftop killer before even considering this. Has anyone cut the trailer for this thing to make it look like Joe is stalking Kathleen yet?
Yes, he did.
He did not.
He did too. He did. He nailed me.
It would require meeting you first before he nailed you, Kathleen.
So what's his handle? I'm not going to write him. Is that what you're worried about?
Honestly, dude, I think you're enjoying yourself so much pretending to be two people, you might email this guy.
I could never be with someone who had a boat.
Is there something in this movie that suggests a past trauma involving Kathleen in a boat? That is specific.
Hey, you want to bump into me on, say, Saturday around lunchtime?
Yeah.
Over there?
Time is an illusion. Lunchtime, doubly so. Hey, I fit a literary reference into this thing. I'm smart.
How about some coffee or, drinks or dinner or a movie? For as long as we both shall live.
So far, he's ruined her store, crashed her blind date, and also stood her up at the same time, stalked her, entered her apartment without permission, and is secretly manipulating the situation to his favor by reverse catfishing. And now he's proposing an alternate reality, and none of this is concerning to Kathleen. Joe shows up, finally confirming that he's the guy she's been talking to online. But look at the range of emotions that go through Meg Ryan's face here. Meg Ryan's really good in this.
I wanted it to be you.
I'm glad this movie is getting its happy ending, despite some weird conflicted feelings that she must be having that aren't even addressed. But an acknowledgement of how weird this was when they met online and just happened to be rivals would have been a nice conversation to have. And a question from her, when did you know, would have been good too. But the whole movie wasted time on some bullshit, and now we can't even see that conversation. I'd remove all the sins if he accidentally called the dog Hooch, which would be a tip-off that his dog isn't named Brinkley, and he'd be forced to admit that he wasn't the guy she's been talking to online after all, and the movie left us on a dark and open-ended cliffhanger.
No one leaves the house anymore. No one has sex. The net is ultimate condom.
Your mama sure does care about your schooling, son.
We have notes. Have you thought about Dave Chappelle? Destroy!
The world is not driven by discounts.
The two of you need to work on trust. And then, and only then, will there be a free exchange of sex and discounts.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Go yourselves. Huh. And I'm not going to stay that long anyway. I already said that, didn't I?
This is the perfect time to panic.
Yeah, take that because you're never going to have to hear it again. Because since I'm never going to do it again, you're never going to have to hear me quack that I'm never going to do it again.
After tonight?
Correct. I've got all tonight to quack.